I was raised because I said so, right? Everything's because I said so. Why we got it? Because I said so. And if you ask another question, you can get smacked. True. I don't do that with my kids. These are different kids, man. They're inquisitive, they're smart, they want to know the answer. Because I said so is not gonna work all the time.
Yeah, you get why.
Yeah, some things you can say, just do what I said. Yeah. But overall, they really want to understand. If you explain the why behind something, they typically will grasp it a little bit better.
Welcome back to another episode of This My Baby Daddy podcast. It's your boy AJ.
The bougie baby daddy Eli.
And today we have a speaker, a host.
Oh God.
But mainly we have the founder and creator of Black Fathers Rock here with us today, Mr. Ryan Jarrell.
Hello.
What's going on, man?
Thank you for having me. I've heard that before, but I don't know when I hear it again, your name, it makes me laugh.
Oh, word? So
it's more funny when you see me in person, right?
It's hilarious.
Look,
that's not a knock.
Hold on now. The one thing we will not do is tolerate disrespect.
I'm not disrespectful.
I just mess with you. Hey, man, thanks for being here, though, man.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So we're going to jump right into it and start you off the same way we start off everybody with the first question. What does it mean to you to be a father?
Oh, man, my answer is everything.
That's everybody's answer.
It really is. It really has been everybody's
But the crazy
answer.
thing is, man, I spent 20 years in the fashion industry.
Okay.
And I made a name for myself here in Charlotte. And the impact that I'm making in I've been a parent almost 7 years now, is going to be greater than any impact I ever made in fashion, and TV, and anything like that. One thing that I know that being a father for me is a calling. I believe that I was called to be a beacon of fatherhood. And particularly for Black fathers, and I always have to give a disclaimer. This is not a knock to say that all fathers aren't great. What I will say is that the media doesn't portray Black fathers as being great. Right. So for me, it was to start off as an award show, and for me, it was just to have something that showed positive Black imagery. Fatherhood is not a mother thing. Someone called me Mr. Mom the other day, and I went off because I am a father. And if you know anatomy, it takes two to have a baby, and can't get there without dad. So being a father to me, it literally is everything, and it's something that I've grew a brand around. But more importantly, I think that's just being there for your kids. One thing about being a father is being active and present.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so you can have the title dad and father, but if you're not involved, if you just go home and kick your feet up because you make all the money, you're not an active and present father. So that's really what the mission is.
So as far as when you talk about a calling to be a father, I've never heard anybody say that. Like that's profound. But now you guys break that one down to me, because I want to hear what you feel about that.
So I didn't know when I started Black Fathers Rock. I was on the couch talking to one of my frat brothers. Shout out to the Newts, by the way.
Yep.
And I said, man, I want to do something to recognize Black fathers. The media portrays us as being deadbeat. You can go on Facebook right now and Google deadbeat dads in the groups, and you'll find like 50 groups.
It's gonna be a Black
You'll find
face.
50, 100 groups.
Yeah.
Literally. And when I Googled fatherhood, I don't know, 7-8 years ago, positive, nothing. So for me, I wanted to just showcase Black fatherhood. So it started off as an award show. Then it became a nonprofit. Now we have apparel, and we're going on year 5 of the event. When I say calling, like teaching is a calling.
Yes.
Right. Teaching is probably one of the most underpaid professions out there. But people that are teachers know they're called to impact students. For me, I'm called to impact people to be better fathers. If you are a father who is not involved in your kid's life, you can come back, right? So I want to inspire someone to reconcile with their family. I want to inspire men that I grew up without a dad. And so I always tell people, the thing that you lack in your childhood, you tend to overcompensate for in your adulthood.
Right.
And I don't know that I started doing it subconsciously or consciously, but again, being a father is everything. So for me, I feel called that that's what I should be doing, and that is my message to spread throughout the world.
Oh, no, that's dope. That's dope. So when you said you were called to make an impact, right? That impact starts from you being present, active, like you was talking about. But what are some of the other things that you feel like you need to focus on impacting for them as they get older? For children and
I tell people, and I stole this from my pastor in D.C. when I lived in D.C., Dr. Freeman, he would say more is caught than taught. And so for me, it's so crazy. The other night, I was putting the kids to bed, and they say a prayer every night, and it's usually pretty generic. And so my daughter, who is obsessed with me, by the way, so the first prayer was, thank God for Daddy's handsome face and his beard.
I think
Just
you made
saying,
that up.
I did not
But
make
it's
it up.
okay.
If we call her right now,
come on, man.
I could probably
listen,
say
bro.
she probably said beard, but I like the rest of it.
my
You made that up.
daughter, she's obsessed. If you watch this and you know Peyton, you already know. So then she said to me, thank God for you sacrificing your son so that we may live.
Oh, that's dope.
I was like,
That's dope.
where did you hear that?
That's dope.
And she was like, when you took me to church, at Have Life Church, I go to Have Life Church. And she was like, when you took me to church, they had youth church, and they showed a video about Jesus. And then she started singing Jireh, which is a very popular song by Elevation right now, to my son, who's 3, to put him to sleep. And then she started making up a song and just singing songs to like encourage me and encourage Grayson, all before bed. And I was crying. She didn't know it, but I got teary-eyed, and I was like, this is crazy. But what it showed me is that I'm living an example for her to follow.
Yes.
And I'm instilling those Christian principles in her, those integral things in her, even at an early age, and she's picking up on them. And so for me, like, just to know that they're watching everything that you do. She's a sponge. My daughter's 6, but she's in the 2nd grade. So I don't know if y'all know what that means. That means she done skipped a grade already. And they're actually looking at me. I should look at gifted schools and things like that. So she's super intelligent, super intellectual. So for me, just being that positive example at all times. You never know what they're watching, but they are absolutely watching. And same thing with social media. People that watch me on social media, I have to protect the brand, right? Yeah. So I have to make sure that I'm living what I'm posting. I can't just be fake and make something up, because my kids would obviously see that, and so would the people that follow the movement. So,
Nah, that's dope.
Yeah.
So one other question, piggybacking off of you was talking about y'all say y'all prayers. It's a random thing.
Yes.
You said y'all do that every night?
Every night.
So I do that too with my son. Son's 7 as far as the whole, academic thing and all that. The funny thing about when he say his prayers, he don't make up the stuff like you just made up. But I got you. But it's just a random question. Do you ever see that she says a lot of the same things in her prayers?
Sometimes.
Okay.
But lately it's definitely been different.
Okay.
Initially it was like, thank God for my family, and then she named everybody in
Yeah.
the family.
That's what my son does.
Yeah.
And then he'll add something at the end, like he tried to add, because he hit me with something that made me not get teary-eyed, but made me think. He said, I try to say them like you say them because I want to say them long. I want to say them. He was like, so that kind of touched me because he's paying attention, even though he might be down there and like might be moving or what, but he's actually paying attention.
Pay attention, man.
And so when he says his, and he might say, well, thank you for this, or he might say, thank you for my TV.
My toys, yep.
My toys, thank you for, he'll go through all the thank yous for all the material things that he has, but it's because he's trying to extend it and touch on the different things like we may do, like adults may do. So that's what, it's random, but it made me want to think about that.
Yeah, but she's gotten, the prayers now, I'm like, where are you learning these words?
Yeah.
She's smart, man, but she has a couple that she says pretty frequently that I'm saying, but she's definitely evolved. The other night messed me up. It messed me up.
My daughter said something about my hair, and it pissed me off. I was sitting right there.
It's curved?
No,
curved?
no.
Okay.
I was sitting there and getting dressed, and I was like, "How do I look?" She said, "I don't know." Kill yourself.
Yo. Wow.
She said, "I don't know. You just like an old man with gray hair." I was like, "Yo, I can't deal with this."
How's your kid?
7.
Yeah, I like it.
We all got the same range.
Yeah, but see, I like the vitriol.
They're real though. They're real, man.
Yeah, that's funny. So you said your father wasn't there. So how do you feel as though you learned how to become a father?
I knew what I didn't want to be.
We hear that a lot.
I knew what I didn't want to be, and not having a dad doesn't necessarily show you how to be a dad, but it definitely shows you what you don't want to become.
Yep.
And so for me, like I said, I don't know if it was consciously or subconsciously overcompensating for not having a father. But honestly, man, like I tell people this all the time, like I get downloads from God, seriously, about even all of this. It just was a download, and I keep a notebook, and so I write everything down, or I have like voice memos that I put on my phone because I get stuff all the time. Yeah. So people are like, "Where'd you learn this?" I'm like, God gave it to me, and you know, the books that I have are based on things that he gave me, and he showed me, and things that I've learned. And I believe God will use anything to talk to you.
Yes.
And so for me, you know, it's just been, that's what it's been. So I don't know that I have a manual. I mean, I have a book. I have 2 books. But but those are just things that I've learned. You know, I was a stay-at-home dad for 14 months. And so in that, I was able to learn what does that look like.
Right.
And so now I share that ebook, Practical Parenting, RyanDurrell.com. It's on there. It's like $5. You got it.
Support.
Shameless plug. It just released like 2 weeks ago.
It's in the big font too.
Yeah, practical parenting. And it really is. It's 12 tips from a stay-at-home dad. And so even being a stay-at-home dad, that is something that people shunned or don't talk about, or
crazy,
you know,
right?
like you're less than because you're staying at home, and like no, like that's a full-time job. And I was still working like at night, but I was the primary caregiver during the daytime. And even with that, just being a man in that role, like that's, I ain't got that pride thing, man. I don't care. It was cheaper. They care.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
easier.
Yeah,
I wasn't-
that bill get-
I mean, I was an entrepreneur at the time. I didn't have a 9-to-5, so
Yeah.
it was better for us. But yeah, I don't even know what the question was. But
You
I
know
hope I
what?
answered it. I hope
Support
I
the book. Look, support the book.
the book, Practical
You know,
Parenting.
He
Okay.
went off on a tangent, but
So
it's
you,
all right.
so you
I'm
said
sorry.
no one directly taught you. Well,
Okay.
whose steps was it
Oh,
more
yeah,
that you tried to mimic or that you saw? Was it someone that you saw
Got
that
it.
not necessarily sat you down and talked to you, but you saw
Yes.
the way they interacted with other people or
I
things
hope y'all,
like that?
I hope y'all don't think I'm just like super Jesus, but I'm telling you, this is what happened. My pastors over the years have been those mentors. You know, Bishop Jen Wright was really impactful to me in my teens, in my early 20s. I moved to DC, Dr. Michael Freeman, moved back to Charlotte, Bishop Alan Porter, and now currently Pastor Shamari White. Those are people that I've seen that are fathers, that are husbands, that are obviously pastors,
Yeah.
but they have community impact. You know, they're upstanding, the same person they are behind closed doors, same person they are on Sunday mornings. And so I watched a lot of people from afar, and growing up in a church, you know, we have mentors and things like that. When I was on the step team at church.
Oh God.
But you know, back in the day,
As
you
long
know,
as
we
you done-
was at church like 7 years. I mean, seven days a week, like back in the day, on every committee, on the usher board and the youth choir and all that.
All day on all day.
All day on Sundays,
Yep.
and so
Yeah, I'm
watch
off
nights and
Don't worry about it.
overnights. And,
Don't worry about
you
that, Jay.
know,
This-
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
There's a lot of stuff you can't relate to.
Yeah, I'm
But
off
it's
on this
okay.
one.
Being tall.
being tall.
Okay. Okay.
All right. But yeah, so there are people that I absolutely watched. I'm like, okay, good. People that I absolutely watched from afar, and just gleaned from them. And again, same thing. Learned what I didn't want to be.
Yeah.
Developed, and you know, I was raised because I said so. Right? Everything was because I said so. Why we got? Because I said so. And if you ask another question, you can get smacked.
True.
I don't do that with my kids. You know, these are different kids, man. They're inquisitive, they're smart, they want to know the answer. Because I said so is not gonna work all the time.
Yeah, you get a why.
Yeah, some things you can say, just do what I said.
Yeah.
But overall, they really want to understand. I think I found that if you explain the why behind something, then they typically will grasp it a little bit better. Teenagers, I don't know. Somebody asked about teenagers, I ain't got them yet.
Just wait.
I don't
Just
have
wait.
teenagers yet.
Let's see if you keep that same mentality. Just wait.
I got a few more years, man. I got a few more years.
I'm going to tell you. Just wait.
That means it's gonna be real hard on you when she not underneath you no more.
Who, my daughter?
Yeah, she was like,
That
yo,
ain't gonna
tell
last
him to
forever.
cut that beard and
Oh no, she said the
and
other
use
day.
some Beijing and
No, she said the other
she might
day.
hit you.
She said the other day. She said, "Dad, I said, you know, your face looks okay with the beard, but I think you should cut it down some." It's like, I went to the barbershop, cut it down. I mean, it's fine.
Oh man, oh man. So when you was talking about how you had to download from what you was spoken to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was that a automatic thing, or did it take you some time to realize that you were being spoken to as far as some of these things?
So I'm a creative by nature, and so I used to get a lot of things in my dreams. What I discovered in my dreams is that generally God was talking to me in my dream because he didn't have time to talk to me during the day. I never opened up a window of time for him to speak.
You didn't sit down.
I didn't
long
sit
enough.
down. Yeah, I'm telling you, I would go, when I was a stay-at-home dad, I would get up, I was on the news at the time, go to the news station, drop the kid off at daycare, my other kid at daycare, take the wife to work, go to the news station, have a sitter for my son, leave the news station, come home, have my son. I had a remote job at the time, so I do that, go pick up everybody, pick up my daughter from daycare, pick my wife from work, drop them back off at the house, go to a restaurant and serve. That was all in a day. So by the time I get home, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, I'm exhausted.
Yeah, you done.
So I never opened up that window. And so for me, it was a practice to say, okay, I need to take some time out throughout the day to listen. And then when I get it, I have to write it down because I'll forget it.
Forget it, yeah.
I'll write it down or I'll do a voice memo because I forget. And I tell people all the time, humans forget, paper don't. You put it on paper, it's not gonna forget, it's gonna be there. You just can't lose paper.
That's my problem.
Forget where you put it.
You can't lose paper. So download, it's definitely a practice, but I think I've gotten to a place now where I hear all the time.
Wow.
And I just put it on paper.
Now we hear you talk about your daughter, but you also have a son.
I have a 3-year-old son.
So what is the biggest, are you raising them both the same or is you raising them a little different? Okay,
Can't.
go to that.
So my son is all boy.
Okay.
So my son is 3, and he likes to run and jump and do all kind of stuff, and
Non-stop.
he just wants to eat Lunchables and chicken nuggets and watch Bluey and Booba. He is not in. He
I'm
just
familiar with those.
Yeah. Bluey is actually kind of dope. Bluey's like it's like a British like comedy
Is that the
cartoon.
dog?
The dog, the
Yeah,
blue
I've
dog.
seen
It's
that
like
blog,
7
yeah.
minutes, 7-minute shorts, all of them, but he
How many
loves it.
episodes in the season?
I don't know, 10, 12. I mean, they got like
Enough for
5
you to
seasons.
get shit done while you just put them in front of the TV.
You could definitely get
do
some
that.
stuff done.
Listen, yes.
You could definitely get some stuff
Cheap
done.
ass babysitter.
Yeah. Temporary TV is your friend, not the whole day, but just temporary. But yeah, so my son is 3, so he is not quite to the level. Girls and boys are different. I heard this that girls and boys are more advanced than boys, and I heard that.
Yeah.
But my daughter, the things that she was doing at 3, my son is not even close.
Oh yeah.
I almost feel like, yo, will you hurry up and get it?
Yo, it happened that way.
It's not even close, man. And so I talk with my daughter a lot because she's the firstborn, and she's a daddy's girl.
Yeah, you're biased.
Yeah, it's
Unintentional.
People say I have a favorite. I mean, I don't.
You do.
Yeah, Grayson doesn't know yet.
I gotta sit here and let you lie to the people.
Yeah, people know. Grayson doesn't know yet. So I have a son, but he's just a son.
You had to remember.
He's just a son.
I'm saying he's like a boy. Like he all boy. Like he don't care. He don't want to. He's just now getting to the point where he's like, Daddy, can I have a hug and kiss? Daddy, can I come lay in the bed with you? But before it's like, let me get my marshmallows and sit in front of his TV and I'm good. Like that's it. There's no interaction. He don't want to talk. He don't want to play. He be chilling. Now my daughter, she be all over me. Like, Daddy, what you doing? Can we go here? Can we do this? Watch TV with me. Lay down with me. Give me a hug. Give me a kiss. Let's do a video. Let's do funny faces. My son ain't there yet. So once he gets a little bit older, it'll probably be a little different. But my daughter.
It'd be more than just a son.
I don't mean that negatively for those watching that don't know me. But
Just some little boy running around here.
If you know me, you know my daughter.
Yeah. My daughter's a genius. She's this. And this boy.
All right, let me clean it up real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
So here is the difference, and this is what I'm starting to notice now. My son is very similar to me in the fact that he's creative and he's musically inclined.
Oh, wow.
So piano, he's starting to play, like he'll play a scale. The drums, I just got him like an electronic drum set, a portable electronic drum set. So he can play that. He makes beats. He's 3. So like he's on a different path.
Hey, he gassing it up now. I got
saying.
I got look. He slide his hands
He on a
across.
different
He
path.
slide his hand across the
that-
piano.
I got videos,
He got
man.
sticks and he banged on it. So I feel you. I'm with you. I love to clean up.
My daughter was carrying around a clipboard at 2. She was walking to the changing table before she got her diaper changed. Like it's just a little different.
That's
She already knew. Like you get potty trained. You already know.
Yeah.
But no, I love my kids dearly. I love them both.
Oh, there's no doubt about that.
Absolutely. My daughter's just
different.
that first one,
girl.
that girl.
Yeah.
I mean, it's different. Doc.
How do you think she changed you?
I'm more sensitive.
Are
To
you?
her, but not him. Not your damn son. That's for sure.
I really am. It sounds so bad now. I'm thinking about like, did you really say that?
It's fine.
I am definitely more sensitive and more in tune with emotions.
Yeah.
She's very sensitive, And I'm like, I don't like I don't like that.
Trust me, I feel
I
you.
don't like whining.
Word.
Just talk.
Unnecessary crying.
cry.
No.
So she's definitely changed. She made me softer for sure. I was very like kissing and hugging, and she wanted to kiss and hug all the time. Like, but I've gotten better. I've gotten better, but she's definitely changed me, and she made me. You know, she's first one to make me a daddy. So
Yeah.
and she came much quicker than she was supposed to come. Supposed to wait a little bit.
That's your fault.
She apparently you couldn't wait. That's why she here.
Well, there's a couple reasons why.
Back to that
let it
daddy
go.
comment, right?
No, it's a quick CVS run.
Man, we was married, man. I ain't doing that.
Yeah.
You don't get married to use contraception.
Nah,
Mary,
that's dope.
you just don't. Never mind. We just gonna let that go.
Hey, you need to sit down. You need to go in timeout.
Yeah, I wouldn't get married and buying no contraception. That's not.
Nah, that's serious. That's dope, super dope. So when you look back at it, and when you first became a parent,
Yep.
you said she made you more sensitive.
Yes, absolutely.
Then your boy, you know, what about him that makes it different? What's the major differences between, you know, you growing softer with her, but what is it that you being able to find in yourself to help raise him?
A great question.
I know, that's why I asked. I mean, that's what we do.
So the thing about that is, everything that I've done thus far is more than I had. So even though I was raised without a father, my mother, my family, we're not the I love you, huggy kind of.
Yep.
You know, that's not our thing. But I hug and kiss my son, which is important because that's my son. And so if he don't get it from me, who is he getting it from? If she doesn't see me doing certain things, then how's she gonna know when she gets older what it's like to have relationships? So my son, you know, I think just being, I mean, even I'm a little more rough with him, obviously, because
Yeah.
that's
It's a
kind
boy.
of natural.
Yeah.
But when he needs me, I'm there. And I have to explain to my daughter, she'd be like, Daddy, why, how come Grayson gets to come lay in your bed and I don't? I'm like, listen, let me tell you something. As much time as I have with you, like this is like the one time this week he want to be under me, and I'm gonna let him be under me. And you need to understand that I'm both your parents. I love you equally, but he needs his time with Daddy, just like you need your time with Daddy. And you've had 7 years almost, or 4 without him. So now he's coming around, like you gotta kind of fall back. And so just even in that dynamic of explaining to her that I have a son that I have to be equally there for, that's been different too. But you know, like I said, he don't know much. I mean, not know much, but he's not gonna remember this stage in life.
Of
He
course.
knows how to play a scale, but yeah.
You know, he knows how to play a scale.
He's a music producer on the low.
So how did she adjust to that? How did your daughter originally adjust to having a sibling?
At first, it was like, "Oh, it's Grayson. He's cute. It's my little brother." Now I think she's like, "Daddy, can we
Send
just
him back.
have
Just
with
our
you?"
time. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's definitely some jealousy there.
So how do you find that balance to be able to get that one-on-one time with each of them individually?
You talk about tablets and show the stuff she wants to watch that I could care less about watching. So if she wants to go on YouTube and watch Dance Moms, cool. That means I got an hour with Grayson that I can have uninterrupted. She want to go watch a movie, fine. So just really knowing what's going to keep her entertained while I can entertain.
Yeah, I
the
do that with my
boy.
son. We'll go watch football, and you know, you go do what you want to do. Like she just run around, do whatever she wants to do. Then she come back when the game over, and then she sit beside me, take his seat, and he runs off, do whatever he wants to do. So yeah, I get
She
it.
was hot last night though. She went out with my mom. She went to the store with my mom, and so she was like, "We're gonna have movie night." She got home like 9:30.
Oh, no,
I was
it's
like,
too late.
"It's bedtime."
Yeah, it's too late.
I said, "Grayson and I watched 2 movies." She was like, "Y'all watch 2 movies without me?"
Yeah, that's your fault.
Yeah, you're not supposed to tell her that. Like
You asked
Right.
for it. You asked for it, because I'm going to tell you.
we tired. We already did all we got to do. Like, what are you
Yeah,
doing?
it's like, yo, you at fault for that one.
I mean,
you didn't think that one through.
I'm just saying, I had to explain it to her. Like,
No, you didn't have to say anything.
you know, we watched the movie already. We watched Encanto and we watched
Oh, that was a good movie.
Descendants. It was. We've
was a
seen
good
it
movie.
a lot.
Yeah, I'm tired of it too.
But I love my kids.
Can't stand Bruno.
We don't talk about Bruno.
Oh, God, stop it. Y'all, look, I'm about to tell y'all.
Yeah, I
both
mean,
gonna
my
take it
dad
back.
mode on this show right now.
We don't talk about Bruno. Okay. All right.
Nah, so,
I'm not gonna sing the soundtrack. It's fine.
thank you. We don't want to hear.
What has been some of your biggest challenges you feel as though you've had when it comes to raising your children? See how it's much better worded? You got that. We can answer this
Use
one.
remedial words.
Oh.
I'm sorry, that ain't PC.
So I'm gonna give you something that I've never said. This is the first interview I've had, and I'm gonna say it. The hardest thing that I've been dealing with now is co-parenting. So my wife and I are no longer together, and so the initial back and forth schedule, the week on, week off, was hard in the beginning. Not because my ex was making it hard, but because I had to explain to my daughter, why do we have two places? Why did you leave us? What's going on? All those things. And so that has been very challenging, was very challenging. And every so often, it'll still come back like, well, when we lived together, you know, you and mommy X, Y, and Z, and I'm like,
yeah, but it's not that anymore.
It's not. So I spun it like, yo, you and Grayson have
Two houses.
Y'all got two Christmases, 2 sets of toys, 2 different bedrooms. Like y'all have stuff in my house, stuff in mommy's house. And so that was the challenge. Now, I think I'm in a good spot, but I've been dealing with that for the last year and a half, and that has been probably the most challenging, because you have to think about that too, the emotional toll that takes on me.
Yeah.
And I have to still, again, more is caught than taught, right? So I can't be, moping around the house and upset all the time and cussing and all that. Like, I can't do any of those things. So I have to make sure that I'm still being the daddy that they know.
Yeah.
And that positive figure in their lives, and just answering those tough questions, man. I've had some very tough discussions with my 6-year-old about life, and that's been difficult. But again, just knowing what to say and being honest with her, and still shielding her, because I want her to, even though she's advanced, I still do as much as I can to try to keep her a kid.
Yeah.
That's why I love King Richard, the movie, so much, because, Serena and Venus's dad knew what he had, but he wanted to make sure they got that childhood. Because once you get out of childhood, that's it. You can't go back. You're going to be an adult for the rest of your life.
Yep. Sure.
Once you get out of childhood, that's all you got. And so really keeping her focused and engaged on being a kid, man. She's asking about stuff. I'm like, you don't have to worry about those kind of things, kid. And she's around older kids. She's in the older classes, and we've had to have conversations about sex already.
Oh wow.
At 6, and
Super fast.
she's around 4th and 5th graders, and she's tall and just she's intelligent, and so they talk to her about things. So that's been challenging. That's been the most challenging thing so far. And then even in the beginning, I talk about my daughter now. I think the bond that I speak about now is because initially we didn't have that bond. First 4 months, she didn't rock with me. I couldn't even put her to sleep, so I was no help to my wife until one time I picked her up and I laid her on my knees and I started rocking her, and she went to sleep, and I was like, oh snap, like this is how you do it. This is it. And then every time after that, when I know she was fussy, I put her right here and I rocked her and she went to sleep. But I did not have that bond initially with my daughter.
So how do you prepare yourself to have that conversation? Because I co-parent as well, but I didn't have to have that conversation of dad's now gone because my kids were still so young. Like my son don't even remember me ever living this
so my son
type
won't
of thing, right?
Yep.
So how do you prepare yourself that, man, I got to let my daughter know what's going on? And do you do it as a unit, or is it something that you just...
Real rap, she's not going to remember either. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, she's not going to really remember that y'all were really together either.
Who, my daughter?
Yeah. I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Speak on it. Speak on it.
I mean, seriously.
He's been
There's
there.
certain things that start fading.
So it's going to fade when she gets a teenager?
Watch.
Okay.
To a certain extent.
Okay.
The details will fade. Will fade.
Well, I got a little time to wait.
It's hard. It's hard in the beginning though.
Yeah.
It's hard at this age until that start. That's kind of challenging.
What? So some things you can't prepare for.
You can't.
The sex thing happened. She was in tub. I think I was I don't know what I was doing, putting up clothes, and she was like, "Daddy, I heard sex was when a boy and a girl stack on top of each other."
Oh wow.
So now I gotta come with it.
Yeah.
I gotta answer.
Wow. Stack on top of one another.
I'm like, that is accurate.
That's entry level. That's entry level.
That's pretty accurate. So you don't always have time to prepare. I had to prepare. Now, when I left, I had to prepare, like, what's it gonna, because I left when she wasn't home on purpose. I didn't want her to see me leave. And that was intentional. We agreed that was the best thing for us at the time.
That could be hard.
But it's so crazy. We were in a car randomly one day, and I don't know where we were, restaurant or something, fast food place, waiting in line, and I said something to her, and she said to me, "How do you expect me to be patient or something when you just left? Oh, how do you expect me to think about somebody else when you left and then think about us?"
Woo! Shit.
Well,
Jesus Christ. Hey, man.
you ain't cry after that one?
In the car by yourself, but not in front. That's hard. That's hard.
And I had to, and I've had to explain it to her several times. Like, I did not leave y'all.
Yep.
Right? You know, like mommy and daddy, it wasn't working. Right? You are much better with happier parents, and if we're happier without each other, if we're doing better without each other, you're getting a better mommy and a better daddy without us being together, because we weren't happy in the home, and that's better for you to see. It's better for me to make the move now.
Yeah,
Than
much
later
better,
on.
because it gets harder.
It gets harder, right? And so I don't always have time to prepare, but that one messed me up. She said that, I was like, and I had to explain, like, it's not that. And so I had to explain to her, we have family that lives in other states. So like my brother lives in Indiana, my mom just moved here last year. But you know how mommy and Auntie Jordan and Nova, they're our family and we love them and we don't live with them. It's the same thing. Like, there's no love loss. We're still family. We just don't live in the same house. So yeah, that's.
And those are tough conversations that don't usually get talked about, because that's the thing about dads. When a dad leaves, it's always the perception like, well, he just left. Like, it's easy. It's never really if you're in.
It's painted that way for sure.
Definitely, definitely. Like you leave and now you just get to live your life, have the ball. You're just having fun. But no,
that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like.
And it's not like that at all.
Not even close.
They don't see the fact that week when you don't have your child, let's say something happens at school and you really want to be there, but this is not your night. This is not your time. That's hard.
So now I will say this. The thing about that is, my ex and I have that agreement that even if it's not our week and something goes down or we want to get the kids for whatever, we will make that happen.
Yeah.
So we're really good about that, because the week on, week off, like I have them this week. I'll drop them off Monday. She'll pick them up from school. So that's our cadence.
Yeah.
But if Peyton Peyton's birthday is on a week that I don't have her, obviously I'm gonna be in the
Of
car.
course,
You know what I'm saying?
of course, yeah.
But even at school, like, something happened. Obviously with COVID, a lot of things been happening. Doctor's appointment.
Whatever is going on, you should be able to be present.
Absolutely.
And not feel like, since it's not my time, I can't be there.
Yep.
Now, it's a lot of people that talk and say, like, you know what, just because it's not my week or just because it's not my time, I can't go. Well, then that's a failure in communication between you and her mother.
Absolutely.
That's something that else. That's higher level that needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
So, just being able to be present, be active, no matter what the situation. But when you go back and think, how was the conversation with your ex to be able to establish those boundaries and establish those, the schedule and the timing and all that? How did that go at first? 'Cause I've never heard it say it went well in the beginning.
It's not pleasant.
Okay.
I'm not even getting to all the things that I've had to deal with, but it was not pleasant. But I'll say this to anybody who is experiencing separation or divorce or has issues being there for your for your kid. Parents, don't use the kids as pawns. I don't. That's just. There are dads who really want to be involved, and they can't afford to fight for the kids, and they can't afford to fly across the world. Don't make them do that. Like that's just not right. That's not fair. It's not ethical. And so, it was terrible. I had to fight. I had to go to court. I had to get a custody order. I had to go to a mediator. I had to do all those things. Like, it was very, like, no one knows. It's the first time I've ever seen this. Like, this is literally the first time I've ever publicly said this.
Normally we do therapy on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You're welcome to vent. You're welcome to talk. I told you. I tell AJ all the time, look, you see how angry he gets. So we have to counsel him a lot. This is not your session. This is your session. So just.
But I get really passionate about that, because I've witnessed people that have been in the struggle of getting put on child support, but the kids still at your house too. Like, we share equal time. Why? Just even putting a black man in the court system, period. Like, that's a whole nother conversation.
That's for sure.
just don't do it. If you can have a rational conversation, a lot of times someone's hurt, someone's angry, someone's bitter, so it's hard to have rational conversations, which is fine. But I had to fight for my kids, and I have them, and we have an agreement now, and it's been great recently, but it was a struggle. It was a lot, and
so
life happens.
The human nature side, because we're humans first. We're emotional creatures.
Yeah.
When you were going through that, right? Did you ever feel as though, I'm not gonna say bitter, because I don't know your exact emotional state at that particular moment, but did you ever feel like the frustration that you was dealing with in far as trying to get everything together kind of came out in how your relationship with your kids for a second?
It'll be moments. It would be a day where I think
Like
that
short fuse or something.
Yeah, like just
that.
one day. I'll never forget this day because she lost it. I was frustrated, and Peyton came in the room, and I yelled at her. And I don't really yell. I don't raise my voice. I ain't do that. I don't yell. I don't cuss. I don't really do any of those things. And I yelled at her, and she lost it. I told you she's sensitive. She lost it. And I literally had to bring her back in the room, and I apologized. And I started crying. I had to apologize.
That's why
to her.
she's emotional. Well, it's a common denominator here.
This is the second time you brought that up.
It's about the third time he cried, but it's all right. In like a 2-week period, but it's okay.
Did your parents ever apologize to you?
My mom did once, twice.
And you 41. Did your parents ever apologize to you?
No.
Exactly.
I'm waiting for one now.
I'm old one. She owe me.
Hold on.
Right now.
I won't put this as a clip because last time everything went
This
off.
podcast, leave him alone. Leave him alone.
So I say all that to say that apologize if you're wrong. Like, you are the parent. That does not stop you from being the parent. You are like, they have feelings like you
lose
have
leverage.
feelings.
You lose leverage.
You lose it. No, you don't.
Well, tell
Nah.
AJ to read.
You don't lose leverage, man. They respect that because I recognize that I was wrong. Like it was one of those moments where I was just frustrated with how things were progressing and going on, and I lashed out, and that wasn't right. She didn't do anything wrong, and so I had to apologize, and so I did. So yeah, those were moments, but I'm really, man, I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. Like with all that I've experienced, like 2020 was a crazy year. My grandmother passed away in February. Actually, her birthday is like 2 days from here. Passed away in February, and then my daughter's birthday, and then COVID hit, and then I started working a new job that I hated, and I was going in office during COVID every day. I worked at a bank, so I was going in office every day. So I'm, PPE and all that. Everybody's short staffed. Like, we're short staffed now, but like back when COVID hit. Because if you get COVID exposed, whatever, it's 14 days. Like, you go. And I worked at a bank in a branch, and we were open every single day.
We get it.
No, listen.
We get it.
I need you to understand.
He's at high exposure. I had a chance for exposure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so you're mental. And then George Floyd happened. And then we found out about Ahmaud Arbery. So all these things are happening. And I experienced the biggest depression of my life that September. So all of this is happening. And I had to make a change. I had to make a change, man. So I don't remember what the question was because I keep forgetting. What I do know is,
Hey, I'm gonna tell you what.
that's a good point, though.
We don't know what the point was. Next time, get him a black notebook with white piece of paper so he can write down the questions and he can refer back to them.
Well, if I had to wait an hour before we started, I'd have remembered everything.
Again, hold on. Hold on.
I'm just saying. I've been sitting here like an hour. Wait,
You were not gonna disrespect that videographer who's sitting right there.
I was fresh when we were going to start. I was fresh. I had my monster in me and everything. It's about nap. It's nap time now.
Hey, look, it's time to eat too.
Oh, I'm sweating. These lights hot.
So let's get
Nah,
you
that's that grease.
That Beijing you talking about.
start sweating out in the
Look,
interview.
you gonna have black sweat.
That Carlos Boozer where all things just start fading away. But
I
yeah,
hit the mic again. My bad.
so I do got a question for you.
What's up?
If there is a new parent out there,
he gonna forget.
and I'm not.
He gonna
Oh,
forget.
I'm going to take a note. Hold on. What you say for me?
Hey, voice memo.
No. I'm telling y'all, man.
No, I believe it.
I have a dry erase board. Like, if it's not in front of me,
God,
I will miss it.
That is.
I'm visual.
Yeah.
I gotta have it in front of me, bro.
That's
That's
the
the
visual things.
look. It's three. That's my
Alarm for us to leave. Yeah.
No. That is my declaration alarm. 3:33 every day. That's my alarm every day. Okay. And I declare, you don't know about numbers?
Can you ask me?
You don't know about numbers, man? 333. All right, man. We'll talk about it.
We're not about to sit here.
It's important, man.
Look, man. You like AJ going all the way over there.
I told you I'm up here. I told you. You got to catch up, bro. Come on, man. Get up here.
Give the Eagles, Eli.
Eagles, man.
Get your ass out of here.
Hey, you see, you've been waiting for an opening.
But he had it. He got it.
Got it.
And he dunked it. He dunked it. He dunked it.
So look, we do got a question for you.
No, you got a question
Yeah,
for
we
me.
do. What advice, especially since you work with fathers all the
He
time,
dunked it.
what advice would you give to someone that is about to start their fatherhood journey? They have no idea what's going on. They haven't gotten their deposit yet, so their download yet, so they don't know what the steps are. If you could download something into them, what would you tell them?
Go buy Fashion and Fatherhood on ryanjorel.com, ryanjorel.com. That's the first book that talks about fatherhood.
Yep.
And the other one's practical parenting. But seriously, be open. I think a lot of times we parent how we were parented,
Yes.
and that is not always correct. Now, the old stuff still works.
Yes.
I still believe in whooping kids within reason.
Yeah.
I still believe in stern talks, but just be open to something new. I think that's really important because as a parent, you think about how I was raised, what I did as a kid, what my mama did as a kid. And that's not, it's a new day. We didn't have cell phones and tablets when we were coming up. We had to go on car rides and sit in the back and color and draw and sleep. And we stopped one time maybe. But that's it. This stuff is different now. You're starting a family right now. It's a pandemic. Like, this is totally different than any other time in our history of our parents and our families. So just be open to new ways of parenting. And there's no manuscript. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's books that talk about parenting and books that talk about fatherhood and books that talk about marriage.
Those are all theoretical books.
Yeah.
That practical application is different.
Yeah.
So being there, like, practically speaking, like, when I was stay-at-home dad and I forgot something, I lost something, the last place I looked is the first place I should have looked, under the couch. Everything's under the couch. If you go under your couch right now or in your cushion of your couch, there's something of a kid that's in there.
Oh yeah. From a kid, yeah, of course.
From a kid. But I never, that's practical stuff.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, you know it's true
You know
too.
what? You right there.
It's true, right?
It's probably under the couch. It's probably under the couch.
Look at you.
Even from
I'm gonna write a book, hey, Under the Couch by Ryan Jarrell.
No, that's a chapter of the book.
That's good. Hey, he's good. You gotta give him credit for that one, Eli. He was good.
That was actually pretty slick.
That was good.
But yeah, so just new parents, man, embrace it. It's gonna be difficult in the beginning. It can be difficult in the beginning, but embrace the newness of having a kid, and you know, just enjoy the moments. Moments matter. You know, be there for the woman of your kids. I don't like the word baby mama, so I don't use that. And even with the podcast, like the spin on that, like, we're not just baby daddies.
Yeah.
Like, if you're active, you're present in your kid's life, you're the father of the kids. But just like I said, new parents, enjoy the moments, and then you're gonna learn a lot. You know, there's no blueprint. I mean, I got a book or two. Fashion and Fatherhood is on ryanjorel.com, and Practical Parenting.
Hey, make both of them a bestseller
on ryanjorel.com. It talks about, you know, practical things of parenting. But, you know, overall, enjoy the experience, man. It is really something that you can't get back. And if you have a kid, man, you're chosen to be the parent for that kid. And so, you know, just enjoy it. It can be rough. It can be tough. You might, them first few months when you're not sleeping, that is not fun. But just enjoy it.
Gotcha.
Enjoy it.
So, as he stated, he has multiple books. Multiple books that you can buy on where?
ryanjorel.com. ryanjorel.com.
All right, cool. Don't say that again. You got Black Fathers Rock.
That's my organization, yes.
Where can they find
Black Fathers Rock, so blackfathersrock.org, my nonprofit. Our goal is to change the narrative surrounding Black fatherhood, dispelling the notion that all Black fathers are absent, and provide resources to strengthen the family.
All right. I don't know what else you want to promote, but that's enough for today.
Fatherhood is all, man. That's my calling. That's it. That's all I got. It's all about fatherhood.
So seriously, that's the reason I wanted you to, tell about that and talk about those. When we lay you down to rest, what do you want your legacy as a father to be?
I impacted the generation of fathers.
See, it was a good setup.
A generation of fathers, man. That's it. I obviously being a good person matters, and being a Christian matters, and being a great son to my mom. That stuff matters. Mm-hmm. But for me, my legacy, my organization is going to live on beyond me. My goal is to reconcile 1,000 men with their families, or just have 1,000 success stories of people who had to fight to get their kids, and now they have custody, or had to fight to see their kids, and now they've seen them after 5 years or 10 years, or they just got out of prison and need to be, reconciled to their family. Like, I really want to have those success stories and create those, and those are going to live on much longer than my fashion ever would. Wow. And so for me, the legacy is just being a beacon of fatherhood to this current generation, and impacting the world with fatherhood and positive imagery. And yeah, man.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope. You hit on so many points. Your book is going to go up. Both of them.
I receive it.
They're going to go up again.
I receive it.
But the wisdom that you spoke with is greatly appreciated. It's going to help somebody.
I appreciate that, man.
They might not be flying up there with the Eagles. They might not have vision boards and dry erase boards all over.
You can talk junk about me all you want to, brother.
Whatever,
it works.
Whatever works. I'm saying whatever works. But it's impactful, man. And I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down with us.
No, man. Thank you for having me.
Word up.
My Sands, my frat brother.
15 years.
Yeah, man. Almost 16 now, man.
Well, until you hit 20, don't talk to me. No, 22 this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm done with you and your highlighter shirt. I'm done talking to you too. We out.
Thank you for watching another episode of Just My Baby Daddy podcast. I know you liked what you saw. So what I need for you to do is go back and look at past episodes. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share our YouTube page, Just My Baby Daddy Podcast. And you can follow us on all social media at Just My Baby Daddy Pod.